Some people say that broccoli will not form proper heads here in Florida because our winters are just a little bit too warm. But I'm going to share with you some tips today on how to have a really successful broccoli harvest with some pretty good sized heads. Welcome back, friends. I'm Katrina with Homegrown Florida for those who are new here. I absolutely love growing broccoli. It's my one and favorite winter vegetable to grow here, but there are some things to know and there are a few tricks to get it to grow. And a lot of these tricks do correspond to how to get cauliflower to grow. So if you kind of like cauliflower or broccoli, this is your magic moment. So the number one thing we have to know about starting broccoli here in Florida is when to start it. So I'm getting out my book, Homegrown Florida Gardening Guide. We're going to open it up to the broccoli, cauliflower, and kohlrabi page. It's all kind of brassicas that behave similar. Now this, you can find this on my website, homegrownfloridagarden.com, although it's in an ebook only at the time. So it says the best time to start broccoli, cauliflower, and kohlrabi from seed in Florida is from September through February. I know, September. It seems pretty shocking, but you know, because it's a cold weather crop and we're talking about starting it at a time in Florida. If you live here, you know September is still very, very hot. So how does that work? Well, the trick of it is that we are okay with starting the broccoli and it being very young when it's still hot out. But we need it to be at its adult size, ready to head when it's cold out. So if you started it in September, and broccoli takes about 3 to 4 months, 3 if you're lucky, 4 if you're normal, we're talking about January harvest if you started it in September. So these guys were started in September. I actually had a few that I started in August. I don't recommend that because it is a little bit hard to get them to limp along in August and September. You have to kind of keep them in shade. You're constantly kind of babying them. But because they take so long to grow, you want to make sure that you're starting them early enough that the plants are at a mature state when it gets to the time of year that the broccoli wants to grow, which is cold weather. And for us, the coldest month out of the year is January. February is pretty good too. So you really want to be starting your broccoli from September to October. Now, you can start it all the way to February. So you can do it every single month, succession planting all the way to February. February is where things are going to get a little tricky, especially if you're like in South Florida. South Florida, you guys need to kind of focus on the earlier time frames. If you're in North Florida, February could still work for you because you still have cool enough days when it comes to March. And April is not great, but it's not horrible either, and they can usually handle it. The next super important tip you need to know about growing broccoli is going to be the variety. Not all varieties are the same. They're not created equal. This guy right here is, I believe this is a Green Magic. Yep, this is a Green Magic. The other one that I really like is called Arcadia. Now, the ones that you'll typically find in the store if you're buying starts is going to be like Waltham 2029, I think, Waltham something, and Decisio, and then there's like, I think they also do a Lieutenant. There's a few different ones. Now, the thing to know about broccoli and the varieties is that the different varieties will produce different size heads. And sometimes they won't even produce heads. There's two kinds of broccoli. There's something called sprouting broccoli, and then there's heading broccoli. Sprouting broccoli is actually kind of like a broccolini. It creates small florets, and people eat the florets and sometimes some of the stem. Whereas this one, the Green Magic, is a heading variety. And within the heading variety space, there's a lot of different sizes. I don't even understand why somebody would want a small heading broccoli. I don't know, I'm sure there is a reason, but there's like small, medium, large, and extra large. Green Magic is considered a large variety. There is actually a larger one. I'm gonna try it out. I always am hesitant of trying new varieties because they will say that they're an extra large or a large, and then you grow them down here somewhere where it's very, very hot outside of the area that they particularly like or the climate they like, and then they end up performing very poorly and having smaller heads. So that's another thing to consider, is just because it says it's an extra large or a large, it also needs to be incredibly heat tolerant. And those two things are kind of like an oxymoron when it comes to the broccoli world. So finding a variety that is both a large headed variety and a very strong heat tolerant variety is few and far between. In Arcadia, which is very, very hard to find at this point, and the places that I have found it that are selling it, I've grown the plants out and I'm getting stuff other than Arcadia, other broccolis, or I'm getting I got Brussels sprouts on one. I don't even know what that is. Anyway, the green magic though you can find at Johnny Seeds, and that one is very consistent. It's not quite as large of a head as the Arcadia, but it's still a pretty good size head. Now most of the broccolis that people are going to suggest, especially the ones that you can find as starts, those are sprouting broccoli. I mean, Decicio technically isn't and Waltham technically isn't. Those are heading varieties, but they're small heading varieties. So they're gonna have, I mean, the heads are going to be about that big. It's very, very small. What you're going after with those varieties is the side shoots. So once the main head is harvested and you leave the plants in there, it will produce side shoots. And that's, I think, what most people are going for with them. Now, the sprouting broccoli, usually sprouting broccoli and heat tolerance go hand in hand. So if you find something that's super heat tolerant, there's one called I don't know what it's called. I'm going to write it right here, but it's like a purple sprouting broccoli. It's extremely heat tolerant and it's really known well to grow down here. Some people even grow it during the summer down here, but it's sprouting. You're not going to get a head. It's like these little wispy broccolini style broccoli. But if you like the leaves and you like that kind of style of broccoli, you could grow that a lot longer. You could start it earlier. You could start it probably June, July, August and keep growing it all the way through March, April. I'd probably stop at May. Like that might be too much for those. But understanding the different varieties and what to look for, and then testing it out in your garden or hearing other Florida growers who are growing a broccoli variety that worked for them, that's where it's at. That's what you have to focus on. The next thing you need to consider when you're growing broccoli, cauliflower, honestly any of the brassicas, is going to be fertilizer. What I was sprinkling down there was blood meal. Blood meal I particularly like, but you can use a lot of different products. What you're looking for fertilizer is not necessarily the brand, like this is down to earth, but I've used Espuma, I've used a lot of different kinds, right? That's not what's important to me. The thing that's important right here is that first number. That 12 is the nitrogen. The next number is phosphorus, and the one after that is potassium. So when you're looking for a high nitrogen fertilizer or amendment like this blood meal, you're looking for that number to be the highest and these numbers to be as close to 0 as possible. Now I understand not wanting to buy a bunch of different products like I have done. I have blood meal. This is almost exclusively what I use in my garden during the winter time. But if you wanted something that kind of spreads across all the different seasons, one of the ones I really like is going to be Alaska's fish fertilizer. It's a 5-1-1. The 5 is the nitrogen, then it has 1 phosphorus, 1 potassium. So it's really a high nitrogen fertilizer. In a liquid form, it feeds them fast, but you do have to put that down often. When it comes to things like amendments and granular fertilizers, you really only need to put it down like once a season or once every 2 or 3 months. If your soil is really poor, maybe once a month. Just a little bonus tip here. This nitrogen tip really applies to a lot of vegetables that we're growing in the winter season, like lettuce, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, collards, kohlrabi, mustard, endive, escarole. I mean, all the greens, right? But also when you get into garlic and onions, they usually like a lot of nitrogen at the beginning of their growing season. Later on, they want to turn into something else. But in the beginning of most everything that you're growing in winter, this is where it's at. You want a high nitrogen amendment or fertilizer. Blood meal is my favorite, but there's also something called feather meal and alfalfa pellets. I was going to say alfalfa meal. I think you get it alfalfa meal, but I think it's more commonly known as alfalfa pellets. The next thing to consider is the days to harvest. All right, I have 2 packets here. This one says 90 days. This one right here is a straight liar. It says 60 days. Neither one of these are really right. In perfect conditions, at the right time of year, in the cold climate of like, I don't know, Michigan or something, I'm sure that these produce in 60 or 90 days. Down here in Florida, with the way our sun changes direction in the sky in fall and winter, we're growing instead of into spring with longer daylight hours, we're growing into winter with shorter daylight hours. Our sun is less intense. There's lots of shadows casting because of the direction of the sun, skirts along the edge of the sky instead of coming. There's so many reasons, right? We're in a hot climate and then it swings up to like 30 degrees and then back to 80 the next day. It's wildly unpredictable down here during winter. These plants don't like that. And so they are not in the optimal condition to grow within the days to harvest that are mentioned on these seed packets. So I call BS on the seed packet days to harvest. And what does days to harvest mean? If you're new to that term, each one of the seed packets or the website will tell you a number of days to harvest. And what that usually means is from seed to ready to have a head on it. If it's tomatoes though, I think they usually go from transplanted date to first tomato harvested. So there's a little bit of differentiator there, and there's really no way to know, so you kind of just have to guess, right? These guys usually take, if I'm lucky, 3.5 months. More accurately, it's going to be 4.5 months. It's crazy. It takes a really long time to grow broccoli down here. That's one of the reasons why I'm not super crazy about growing cauliflower, because cauliflower is a one and done. Once you harvest it, that's it. You don't usually get more. Where broccoli, at least when you take the main head off, you get more broccoli. You have to kind of think about that. Both of the plants, you can eat the green leaves. So I guess there is benefit even if you have to wait 4 months to get one head of broccoli. I will tell you this though, it has given me a profound appreciation for these mounds of broccoli I see in the grocery store. Every time I see it, it blows my mind when I think how many plants it took to produce those heads of broccoli. It must have been mountains and mountains and rows and acres and acres. And I can actually vouch that that is true because I've been to California. And when we were in California, we were kind of going through like a really rural area, and they had lots of different plants. It was the coolest thing. Usually down here, I'm used to seeing like rows and rows of corn or rows and rows of, what else do we grow down here? Watermelons, you know, but over there you saw rows and rows of Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, peanuts, citrus. Like they had so much variety. Anyway, a little tangent off point there to say they take a lot longer than what the seed packets say, so be prepared for that. The next important tip is when to harvest. And I wanted to show you the heads so that you can tell the difference. This one right here is almost like perfect. It's almost perfect, ready for harvest. And the way that I can tell is, one, obviously I have a head here. That's the first part. These, when I kind of press these, they don't really want to separate. They're pretty tight. It almost reminds me of a cauliflower head in that these little buds don't want to move. They have the tiniest bit of movement. There's no like yellow happening. This is the perfect head to harvest. Now I could wait a little bit longer, and I usually do. I wait for it to spread a little bit to see if it's going to get any bigger than this. But once it starts to spread, it's going to seed or it's bolting. And there's no point in letting it do that. You're just going to miss out on your harvest. Cut it at this stage. I don't currently have any broccolis in the garden right now that have gone over, but I did have a really good example from last year. I'm going to show it. I'll put it up on the screen right now. But this broccoli, you can see it started to separate. That dome shape has started to create like little sprouts within the dome that are getting higher than the dome. It's spreading apart. You can even see some yellow flowering on the side or the underneath of the broccoli that's starting to sprout. That all tells you that that guy is going to seed, and you need to go ahead and cut him at that point. That's probably about the farthest you want to go, because it's still good to eat at that point. Honestly, it's good to eat no matter what. If it goes to seed, like, go ahead. I mean, as long as it's not like all yellow flowers. When it's all yellow flowers, it is edible. It just no longer tastes like broccoli. It kind of tastes a little bitter. I don't know. It's not that terrible. I've had it, but it's not what you're looking for. Don't let it go beyond the one I showed just then. That's too far. But that one down there, that is the perfect time to harvest it. But don't get rid of the plant once you harvest it, because that's our next step. Side shoots. When it comes to broccoli, not cauliflower, but when it comes to broccoli and you take the main head off, then what you have are these little side shoots that pop off the plant that you can then harvest. I never start taking the leaves off to eat them until after I've gotten all the side shoots that I want. Because if you start taking the leaves off, you're going to have what's happened here. I needed to create some sunlight to come in to hit these cabbages because I put them in the wrong place. I shouldn't have tucked them underneath these plants because they were getting very shaded out. So I had to take off some leaves. And what that did is it really decreased my side shoot production. And you don't really want to do that. Leave the plant nice, big, bushy. Don't take very many of the leaves off, and it will produce an abundance of side shoots. I'll show you from last year mine that produced a crazy amount of side shoots, and it will give you those side shoots about every week or two for about a month. And it's a good size amount. You get almost as many side shoots every single week as you did the main head, but they're in small florets instead of the giant head. So I hope that gives you all the information that you need to grow broccoli successfully down here in Florida or in any other warm weather climate like our southeast friends, like in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, all those, all the way to the West Coast. If you're in California, Arizona, Texas, all those guys, like these are options for you too. So get out there, grow some broccoli. It's not too late. Happy gardening, guys.